As you know, there are infinitely many primes. But how can we prove it? Well, there are many proofs of this particular theorem. As you can see here are two proofs, and there are many more, like there are another two proofs. Among all of them, the most famous one is the Euclid's proof, that is this one. But in this video, I will not consider any of these proofs. I will take a very beautiful and elegant proof which only uses sine function. A single line proof of infinitely many primes, that is this one. We will try to understand what this means, that is the line of this proof means. And I will make a little bit of change in this proof. So now let's understand how we can prove it and understand it. Now we will discuss the period and zeros of sine function. To understand the zeros and period of sine function, let me first draw an axis as shown. Now I will draw a circle on the axis, that is this yellow one. Now I will place a dot on the intersection of the circle and x-axis as shown. Now if I shine a bulb upon the red dot, then the shadow of the red dot will be casted on the origin, that is on the y-axis. So here is the perpendicular line, and at the end of the line on the y-axis there will be the shadow of the red dot, that is this green point. Now if I move the red dot along the circle, then the oscillation of the green dot or the green shadow is the sine function as shown. Now as you can see, when the red dot is moving from minus x-axis to plus x-axis, the sine function is getting its zeros, and as it is the integer multiple of pi, so the zeros of the sine function is at 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi and 4 pi. And as the complete oscillation is get when the red dot is moving completing the circle, so we can say that the period of the sine function is 2 pi. So we can write it more formally in mathematical term using the zeros of the sine function are at m pi, where m is an integer, and the period of the sine function is the integer multiple of 2m pi, and for our use I will consider m as 1. So now let's understand how can we prove the infinitely many prime theorem. Suppose there are only finitely many primes and P of set is a set of all the prime number in existence. Now what I will do, I will create a number using all of these prime numbers. Let's consider a number A which is 1 plus 2 into product of all prime numbers. And using the pi notation, that is the product notation, like we use summation, we can write it something like this. Now as this A number is made using the product of all the prime numbers plus 1, and as the set consists all the prime numbers, A cannot be an element of the set P of set. So A is an number which is not prime. So A can be written as some combination of some primes as this one, and so we can say from this expression that P1, P2 and all of those primes divide A. And in notation we can write is as P1 divides A, P2 divides A and P divides A, P of R divides A. So we get what? We get P divides the number A. And what it means? It means that if I divide the number by the prime P, we get a integer M. Now we know that sine is monotonically increasing function in the range 0 to pi by 2. So from our knowledge of sine function, we can write as something like this: 0 is always less than sine of pi by p. Why? Because sine of pi by p is pi by p is in between 0 to pi by 2. Now from our knowledge of period of sine function, we can write it something like this. Notice the second term here, 2 into pi into those product of primes by p is actually an integer m. So it is in the form sine of theta plus 2m pi. So we can write it as something like this. Now from this we can write this by little simplification, and remember that that number is actually an integer m, as I have shown you before. So it is sine pi m, and remember that pi m are the points where the zeros of sine function is. So we get that this expression is equals to 0. So what we have? We have an expression something like this here. So this equation shows that a quantity is simultaneously greater than 0 and also equals to 0, but it is not possible. So this expression is self-contradicting, and so our assumption that the set of all prime number is finite is wrong, and so there are infinitely many primes. You can see that how beautifully this proof is. Well, I have just removed the multiplication, and I hope you have understand it. And so this is all for today, and I will see you next time.